Because it says 5 till 7, So I'll just press the enter button to turn off the music.
Space.
Hi.
When you're ready for it.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for a few more people to sit down. And then a few more people coming in. I'm just going to turn it off from here. I'm just going to turn it here, Actually, Zach, can you turn it down? Might sound a bit better. Welcome everyone. Just doing a quick mic check. Can you all hear me okay? Yes? Maybe a little bit louder? Thank you so much. Welcome, Kens. Now the energy is high. How are we all feeling today? I think you can do a little bit better than that. Let's try that again. How are we all today? Welcome. My name is Marcia. I'm Dr. Espen's events manager. I'll be your MC for tonight as well. And I'm also here for you. If you have any questions, please just come to me. I'm always happy to help answer anything you need to know. We've just flown in this morning from Townsville, so we're super pumped, super excited. We had a really, really beautiful event in Townsville last night. Our beautiful crew that's with you today, about 4 or 5 of them have only slept 4 hours. So be passionate and be compassionate with them. They're working very hard, and I just want to honor and acknowledge you guys for doing such a great job. And also all of you for turning up on a Saturday to come and learn and work on yourselves. So big yay for you guys. Woo! Can I just see a show of hands? Who of you have been to a free quantum experience event before? All right. Who of you have been to a 2 or 3 day event, a live event before and done the work? Look at that, about 20 of us. And who has already got a ticket for the one event coming up in 2 weeks? Yay! About 6 of us, that's awesome, I'm super excited. I'm just gonna go through a little bit of housekeeping with you all. So if you can just be fully present today, you are here for yourself, you're taking this time, so you might as well be fully present, fully here. Now what that means is if you can please put your phones on flight mode. It's not allowed to take any videos today and tonight. You can take pictures. But realistically, we just want you to be here with you without your phone, really, because it's really annoying if someone's in front of you taking pictures and filming while you're actually trying to take in information that could change your life. So let's just be respectful to everyone. Look after yourself as well. Drink plenty of water. It's a hot day. We're trying to cool the room down with aircon as much as possible, and we'll keep cranking it. But also, there is a lot of information coming your way. We're going to do some amazing breath work, so we just want to make sure that you're looking after yourself as well. There is restrooms out that way, so that's the restroom door, and then there's the fire exit at the back. Now, we will be having breaks, so if you do need the toilet, I promise you we will have breaks, so you can go to the toilet. And we'll also have a little lunch break. I'm just going to tell you now already with the lunch, and I'll say it again later, we will do breath work right after the lunch. So try and eat very little or very light meals, because it's a lot more hard work to do very deep breathing when you have a very full belly. So a little light snack would be ideal. For today's timing, so we're going to go from 10:30 till 12:30, so the first session, and then we'll have a break. Then we're going to do an hour of breath work with you all, which we're all super excited about. And then we have the second session from 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock with also a prize. So you can actually win a prize if you filled out your intention sheet. Yeah, awesome. So we'll announce the winner at the end. For those of you who has never heard of Dr. Espen, who has just seen a Facebook ad and is like, yeah, I'm just going to check this out. Oh, wow, welcome. Welcome to the family. We're heaps of fun. You're going to learn lots of really cool stuff today. We're super excited. Now, for those of you that don't know Dr. Espen, I would love to talk a little bit about my mentor and also my soul brother and one of my best friends, which I feel very lucky about. He practices as a scientist and as a researcher. So he is a media personality. Has anyone seen Ninja Warrior? Yeah? Yeah, he was actually one of the finalists in Ninja Warrior 3 times, I think. So it's quite bendy, this one. He's also a yogi, which is also why he's bendy. But he's also a qualified teacher and a lifelong researcher. Now, he had a life awakening accident where he broke both his legs and he was in hospital for a long time. While he was in hospital, he actually got a life-threatening infection and nearly died. But he managed to heal himself from the inside out by himself. So that's something we're going to be talking about today a little bit as well. From there, he became a multiple business entrepreneur. He became an Australian Ninja Warrior finalist after 2 broken legs. I think that's quite cool. And he also became a beautiful father to his son, Gunnar, who's now 2.5 years old, and a bundle of joy. Dr. Espen is also the co-founder of the Bonfire Health Group. So it's one of the largest wellness centers here in Australia. He has researched all over the world. So he's traveled all over the world and specialized his research into quantum physics, neuroscience, and consciousness, which then also includes the self-development and meditation part that you're going to be learning about today. Now, his discoveries have taken him all around the world. We've been all over Singapore and Australia and everywhere. But today, he's actually here for you guys. So are you ready to step into this new quantum physics world and take in the information and welcome Dr. Espen together with me? Yes? Let's give a thunderous applause for Dr. Espen Wold-Jensen.
Thank you very much. Hello, can you hear me okay? Yes. 2 people can hear me. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Awesome. Welcome, friends, brothers and sisters. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here with you today. Today we're going to journey. We're going to experience and explore something very, very different. We are going to look at how to bridge the gap between science and spirituality and stand on the shoulders of giants by really embodying this incredible work. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Espen, and one of the first times I said that in a live event like this, I had this young lady at the back of the room that's cracking up laughing. You know the kind of laugh that when you hear it, you need to know what's so funny because it's just contagious. And she's laughing and laughing. I thought, shit, did I spill on myself or something? And then I turned to the back of the room and I said, hey, sister, tell me what's so funny. And she's giggling. She's like, eventually she's able to speak, and she says, I thought you said S-bend like the toilet. So the first thought that came over me was, holy crap, am I named after a shitter? And I can assure you I am not. But I thought this could be fun, so I said to her, no worries, sister. I said to everyone, feel free to lean in and bring your shit. So today, I invite you to bring your shit. Spiritual healing in the thyself. Bring all of you. Bring your energy. Bring your vulnerability. Bring your spirit. Bring your spark. Bring your joy. And also bring with you the awareness that not everything you will be experiencing and exploring today will be comfortable. We all know that healing happens outside of the, what's it called? Comfort zone, yes. And the comfort zone is a nice space to be in from time to time, but nothing really valuable ever grows there. So I would like to check in with you, if I have your permission, to speak the truth and to share that truth, even though it might be a little bit uncomfortable from time to time. Is that a cool? Raise your hand if you're okay to being a bit raw. Okay, cool. And also raise your hand if you're cool to have some fun. Seriously, we're going to have some fun. On the Hawkins scale of consciousness, a scientifically proven model, the frequency of joy vibrates at 540 hertz. That is higher than love. Okay? That is love and above. And we know through neuroscience that when we are putting energy or emotion into something, particularly that of joy, we are going to have a much better experience. And also we are going to learn 7 to 10 times faster. So if you wish to bring with you the incredible knowledge of quantum physics or quantum mechanics, which is effectively the study of the universe, the study of who we are, and you want to bridge that gap from science into spirituality and learn to use the incredible field of divine consciousness in your life, then this is for you. And this is for you then to put some of your energy into it, because we're going to get results in direct proportion to the energy and effort that we're willing to put in. And I honor you. I haven't met all of you, but I will say from the bottom of my heart, I love you so much. And I honor you so much for showing up here for you today. And I just want you to leave here with something tangible that is going to change your life. So that will be up to us to kind of have some fun, to kind of get a bit vulnerable, to not take things too seriously. Maybe keep an open mind. Who's ready to keep an open mind? Maybe, yes. Maybe some of the things. A couple of guys at the back going, fuck no. Fuck, by the way, in my language stands for future understanding of conscious knowledge. So you might want to write that down. If you ever drop the F-bomb again, it's like, oh no, that's not what I mean. I'm not swearing. Don't be triggered. This is a different language. Future understanding of conscious knowledge. So as a scientist, I've got 3 degrees in science. I've spent a lot of my life really studying the nature of reality. And I've realized that I was a boring bastard. I was really boring because I was so stuck in my analytical mind. I was trying to analyze everything and quantify everything and this and that and this and that. And what I realized is that just like my son, who's 2.5 years old, life, when you're not as caught up in trying to be something that you're not, or not being able to express yourself without having too many drinks, then you just express yourself anyway. You can actually just express yourself the way you are and be loved for who you are. So I'd like to set the standards for us here today that we have no judgment in this room. So if someone shares a tear, then we hold space with love and compassion for that person. If someone laughs and has a snorting laugh, then we laugh in joy with that person and we don't judge that person. And the number one thing that I'd like to invite you to do today is to have no judgment on yourself. Who's committed to no judgment here? Okay? If you didn't raise your hand, then I'd really question why you didn't raise your hand. Maybe you just want people that don't raise your hand at all. There are some of those, and that's cool. But thank you all so much for contributing to that, because this becomes a sacred space. This becomes a container where we are able to have some fun. And as you'll hear from our graduates that have done this work, and because this is the introductory seminar, this is kind of when we It's like kindergarten a little bit. We kind of get to explore and we don't do the work. We get to learn about the work. And then the door will be open. Should you choose to do the work, then you will have the invitation. You will be experiencing no hard pitch. We're not trying to trick you into buying something. There's no bullshit here. This is a sacred invitation and it'll be at the end. And if you feel like, you know what, that's something for me, then go ahead and take action on that. If you don't feel like, applying quantum science and using breath and consciousness and meditation and awareness is useful for you, then absolutely, totally cool. But we want to bring that sacredness to this experience because your life is worth it. And you have something inside of you that many of us have forgotten. And that is, and I'll come back to this later when we go through the science, that's the power, the wisdom, and the beauty of the entire universe within you. That is pure, untapped consciousness potential. Untapped quantum potential. And every time your heart beats, boom, 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 it is talking to you. It is speaking to you. It is trying to connect with you. It is reminding you. And I always say those who don't go within, they go without. Today, we're not going to go without. We're going to turn the attention within to experience and explore what life might be like for us when we walk a conscious path. The path of our own design. And it's going to be very different for each and every single one of us, that's for sure. So, I'd like to start with something that is different, but we kind of have to do it anyway. I'd like you to close your eyes for a moment if you can. Just close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, we're just going to do a quick little question. I'd like you just to check in with each and every one of you. So keep your eyes closed and respecting other people. The question is in regards to social distancing. If you are socially distancing and you don't want anyone to touch you, that's perfectly fine and perfectly respectable. If you don't wish to high-five anyone or be touched by anyone or touch anyone and you are socially distancing, please raise your hand now. Okay, we've taken a note on that. Thank you very much. When you're ready, you can open up your eyes. That was no one, by the way. And I had a really good look to make sure I didn't miss anyone. So if I missed anyone, I really apologize. But yeah, we just came off a plane where we had to wear these masks and it was quite different. So I'm not going to share my opinion on these things, but I will say Cairns, every time we come to Cairns, the energy is off the freaking charts. We love you so much. It is so cool. So cool to be back. So let's start with some meditation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to sit up nice and tall, uncross our legs, both feet on the ground. If you feel like it, you may choose to place your hands on your thighs with your palms facing up. This is signifying that you're ready to give and also that you are ready to receive. If you wish to, you may choose to put your index finger on top of your thumbnail, signifying that you are in control of your ego and that you are in control of your breath. And let us take a moment to close our eyes and slight exhale and then inhale. And as you inhale, you draw the air in through your nose, filling up your lungs completely. And as you exhale, you breathe out through your nose, eyes closed and body fully relaxed. And you breathe in one more time through your nose. Now you're breathing in. And then you breathe out and you're breathing out. And then you breathe in and you are now aware that you are breathing in. And then you breathe out and you are now aware that you are breathing out. And as you continue to breathe with awareness, we are now embodying the first principle that the Buddha taught. The very first thing the Buddha shared with humanity about meditation was knowing the difference between the inhale, now I'm breathing in, and the exhale. So now you are embodying that principle. And as you breathe in, you are aware that you're breathing in. And as you breathe out, you're aware that your body is relaxed, you can hear my voice, and you're still aware of your breath at the same time. I'd like you to take a moment with your eyes closed to set your intention. Set your intention for what you wish to experience here today. Maybe it is something that you wish to let go of. Maybe it's a pain or a suffering or a pattern. Maybe you wish to let go of any physical disease or any pains. Maybe you want to heal your mental and emotional bodies. Maybe you want to heal your finances. Maybe you want to experience something different in your relationship with yourself or in your relationship with other people. Maybe you want to actually embody a new way of using science and spirituality for your own personal development. Maybe it's in relation to your career, to your work, to your mission. Maybe it's related to your spiritual fulfillment. Maybe it's in relation to you rediscovering your purpose and yourself, or maybe it's something completely different. Why did you show up here today? What do you want for yourself, for your future? And set that intention with the energy that you're going to bring here today, because the energy that you bring is exactly the momentum that you get towards your conscious goal. So set that positive, loving intention for your day and anchor that into your mind's eye. Feel aware of your breath. And when you're ready, with your eyes closed, taking a big breath in and exhale. Another big breath in and exhale. And a big smile on your beautiful face. Big breath in, big smile. And exhale. And when you're ready, open up your eyes, slowly but surely. Seeing already things look a little bit different. And I'd like you to turn to the person next to give them a high five and say, you are heavily meditated. There's no pharmaceutical company on this planet that can compete with the pharmaceutical company, the pharmaceutical, what's the word I want to use? There's no pharmaceutical company on the planet that can compete with a pharmacy in between your ears. It's very, very powerful. What you can do in here, nothing can replicate that. So this is what we're going to be exploring today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to guide you on a journey. And we had a VIP session earlier today where we went through all the 8 areas of life, where we are in those 8 areas of life. We've explored a bit of what might be keeping us stuck and also where we want to go. So now we're sailing on a ship together and we're going to go to our favorite destination. And on a ship out on the ocean, we are all going to rely on each other. We're going to throw no man or woman overboard. We're going to throw a couple of life rafts, but you're going to have to help us row the boat. Are you in? Yes. Yes? Good. So let's go on a journey then. Today we will be exploring how to thrive in times of uncertainty. Who feels that we're living in different times compared to last year, right? Oops, so COVID came around and put a spanner in the works. Well, I'm here to tell you that in order for you to heal anything that you're trying to heal, to embody and experience anything that you're trying to experience, it is not the outer world and your reality that dictates it, it's your inner world. And ladies and gentlemen, as the late great Dr. Wayne Dyer told me once, he said, you do not manifest what you want. Has anyone heard of the law of attraction? Yes? He said, you do not manifest what you want. He said, you only manifest what you are able to become and sustain vibrationally. So your outer world, or what you are able to manifest, is a direct reflection of your internal frequency. Today we're going to learn how to raise the frequency and how to heal, not one, but all of the 8 areas of life. And this is the first step to mastering times of uncertainty. Have to look within. I'm not going to tell you what I understand is coming in the world. because I can't forecast the future. But what I can tell you, what I know, and I'm not talking to you as a scientist, I'm talking to you as a brother, we are not done. It's just about to get started. So we've got to get ready. Then we're going to learn how to apply the power of consciousness. Has anyone heard of the consciousness before? That field of intelligence that is, yes? So we'll talk to you about the science of this field a little bit later. Has anyone heard of chakras or energy centers before? Yes? And as a scientist, right, I through all of my studies, we never learned anything about this at school. It's insane. I've learned more from sitting with meditation masters and on mountains and journeying with sacred medicine through Peru and sitting in nature than I've learned in my studies. So, but we've combined those studies with those ancient principles. The chakras or the energy centers are real. They've been proven for many decades in scientific research. One of the greatest research I've done on this was done by Professor Valerie Hunt at the UCLA University. And she was able to prove that these chakras are real all the way back in the 1970s, and that still stands the test of time. So if you're a little bit like I used to be, where you're really quite, woo-woo, that's woo-woo, well, it's not woo-woo, it's science, okay? Good. But do not take my word for it. It's something that I actually want to emphasize. Do not take my word for what I'm saying here today. I'm not going to tell you what's good or bad or right or wrong. I'm going to give you both sides of the scenario and you can choose for yourself. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you the most important question in human history. And you can choose what you believe for yourself. And that's the key to this. We find our own answers. And so we're going to learn, and here's the key. This is epic, I think. We're going to learn how the energy centers, the chakras, are directly related to the 8 areas of life. How each of the energy centers, when blocked, have a specific effect on that area of life. And when you learn this, you're going to be learning a new language, a language of consciousness. And this language is very different. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years, but we have not yet learned that language. So now we're embodying a new language. And then when we understand this language, we can see how, for example, when our root chakra, our first energy center, is blocked, how that's going to have an effect on our physical health. And we're going to learn all of them. So at the 3-day event, what we do is we get into each of the energy centers. We remove the number one blockage in every single one of the 8 areas of your life. So that the approach is tailored to what's keeping you stuck in your physical health and to do a quantum collapse on that block. And then we do mental and emotional state. And we collapse the block that's keeping you stuck with your emotions and with your thoughts. Then we do finances. And we collapse what's keeping you stuck in your finances. Everything is energy. Can I see a show of hands? Who believes that everything is energy? All right, we're definitely in the right room here. Everything is energy. So if everything is energy, is money also energy, yes or no? Yes. Money goes from where it's depreciated to where it's appreciated. It's pure vibration. So if you don't consciously really appreciate yourself, if you have a wound from childhood, if your relationship from childhood with money was based on fear, stress, or scarcity, if you now currently are in a relationship with money based on fear, lack, worry, scarcity, instead of love, joy, gratitude, and abundance, you're manifesting from that frequency. Does that make sense to anyone? Yes. Okay, so if you want to have more money in your life, it's not about the physical, tangible asset. It's about healing your frequency, your wound with money, which starts from childhood. Does this make sense? You heal the wound, you raise the frequency, and you vibrate at that frequency, you attract from that frequency. It's a magnet. This is what Dr. Wayne Dyer was talking about all along. And now we're starting to pick it up. So if you want to heal your money, look to a blocked 3rd energy center. And then we're going to get into the heart, and then we're going to look at our relationships. And we're going to heal the number one thing that's interfering with our relationships, with our relationship with ourselves and with our relationship with the people that we love, relationship to the planet, other things perhaps, whatever you're passionate about. Then In the second day, we do the heart, and then we get into the throat. And then we're going to face the number one regret of thousands of Aussies on their deathbed. Yes? So we're going to let go of the lives or the things that we do in our lives that we shouldn't be doing, that we think we should be doing because someone told that we have to do this and we have to do that. The number one common regret of thousands of Aussies on their deathbed. Would you like me to tell you what it is?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll skip that part. Would you like me to tell you? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. The incredible palliative nurse, Bronnie Ward, W-A-R-E, had a chance to care for thousands of people on their deathbed, and she found one common regret. The biggest, there were 5, but the number one was, I wish I had the courage to take action on living a life true to me and not the life that other people expected of me. That's the number one regret that we will have on our deathbed, and we have a chance to do something about that tonight. Does that make sense? One person. The reason why I emphasize this is because most people are living lives of quiet desperation, just getting by, or maybe just okay. I want you to be fucking passionate. I want you to be in love with life. I want you to see the sacredness of every breath and every moment. I want you to have joy as your number one frequency. Sound good? Yes. And you can't have joy in your life unless you walk in your path. Because if you try and live someone else's life, procrastination, hesitation, frustration, desperation, and depression will fill up in your life as byproducts, as feedback mechanism to help you come back to live and walk the path that you came to walk. It's your life, it's not anyone else's life. Are you with me still? Yes. Good. You do you, number one. So we're going to learn how these energy centers are directly related to the 8 areas of life, and then as I said, I will open up the door, and if you choose to come to the 3-day event and do the work, then that's when you're going to have a chance to actually collapse all of those 8 blocks. All 8 blocks in 3 days. It's not for you if you want a quick fix. It's not easy, but it works. And then we're going to learn how to become peaceful and happy, and from that state become a masterful manifestor. Now, the only masterful manifestor that manifests what you want is coming from a place of peace, joy, happiness, and gratitude. And if you choose to write this down, it may serve you. Gratitude is the ultimate state. It's a vibration. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. It's the ultimate state of receivership. And someone once told me, if you want to attract more things into your life, why should the universe give you more things to be grateful for if you're not already cultivating gratitude for all those things that you've been blessed? Does that resonate with someone here? Okay. Right? So gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. You might want to read the book, The Magic. Yes. Good book, huh? Yeah. So we're going to learn how to become a masterful manifestor and have peace, inner peace, as the place where we dwell. Peace on the Hawkins scale of consciousness vibrates at 600 hertz. Fear vibrates at 100 hertz. Neutral is 250. Love is 528. So, peace, inner peace. Then we're going to learn how to use quantum breath to heal and awaken our potential. Yay! Today we're going to be breathing, ladies and gentlemen, and we are making history here today because this is the first time in our company that we're delivering breathwork to you as a free experience. Woo-hoo! Yeah, we think that's pretty cool. And we feel from yesterday's experience that you will have a bit more of an idea, not mentally, but the experience of how powerful you are after the experience of breath. Then we're going to learn how to be resilient and to prepare for what is coming. You are either consciously prepared and ready, or you are not. There is no gray. Gray is going away. You're ready to ascend, or you're going to descend. It's just how nature of reality works. That's the law of duality. So I want you to be ready. I want you to be prepared. And I want you to be able to go inwards and find peace within no matter what is happening around you. And then we're going to give you an invitation to join our quantum family, which is when we do the work. It's when we come together in sacred space, in this very room, actually. And we're going to show you the video of last time we were here. And you'll hear the stories of the brothers and sisters that first came to an event like this and said, oh yeah, no, this is kind of okay. Maybe I wonder. And then they came to the 3 days, and then you'll hear their stories. Because I can talk about it, but it's much better to experience their experiences and see what's ahead of you should you choose to take that path. So remember to hydrate well as we go through the journey. Remember to breathe deep and regularly, because we're either aware of our breath or we're not. And I'd like to invite you to do something fun. We're going to be a bit silly. And I'm going to ask you a question. And instead of answering the question, I'd love you to demonstrate with your energy, with your body language, and with your voice the answer to this question. Now, please remember that you are going to get results in direct proportion to the energy emotion, which is energy in motion, unless it's stuck, of course. I call that an issue in the tissue. Anyone think you might have some issues in the tissues? Anyone else but me? Yeah, I've got issues in my tissues, that's for sure. So I'd like you to just answer this question with your body language and with your sound. Okay, so you're going to be loud and proud, and whatever you want to bring out, whatever you feel is the answer to this question for you, is exactly the amount of potential that you're going to journey with for the next couple of hours. So sitting up nice and tall whenever you're ready, not so serious, let's have some fun, let's be children once again. Life's too short to be stinking thinking when we can be thinking and thanking. So we're sitting up nice and tall, take a big breath in, and please answer this question. Are you ready to go quantum, yes or no? Oh my gosh, we're literally people jumping out of their seats. Okay, you're amazing. Whew. I would like to ask you the number one question that has been asked by philosophers for as long as we've been alive. And that question is, who am I? So we're going to take a moment to experience what we feel about that question. This is a picture from the last time we did this in Perth, and you'll feel the energy in the whole room shift. And the question is really, who am I? What do I believe about myself? Is it okay if you are fully honest with yourself now? Yes or no? Yes. That's awesome. Thank you so much. This is the whole process here. So, and by the way, as we get into this, you can't get this wrong. You cannot stuff this one up, because there is no right or wrong answer. It is simply what you believe. So you have both scenarios available to you. Whichever one you believe is the one that you can choose. So let me explain. I'm going to give you two scenarios. Scenario number 1 and scenario number 2. I'm going to explain the first scenario, then I'm going to explain the second scenario, and then I'm going to come back to the first scenario. And then I'm going to say, if scenario 1 is what you believe, then please raise your hand now. If scenario 1 is what you believe, then you raise your hand. If scenario 1 is not what you believe, then we don't raise our hand. We just sit still and just feel. And then we're going to go from scenario 1 to scenario 2, and then I'll just quickly reiterate scenario number 2. And I'll say, if scenario 2 is what you believe, then raise your hand now. And then, if scenario 2 is what you believe, then you raise your hand. If you do raise your hand, please do it with meaning. Okay? This is not raising our hand. No one likes limp. Okay? So we're going to raise our hand fully. Yes? Or not at all. Is that cool? And no right or wrong answer. It's just whatever we believe. All right, friends, you ready? Cool. So what we'll do, lights will be coming down. We'll just sit up nice and tall. Just close our eyes for a moment and start to turn that attention back within. And this becomes our opportunity to just reconnect back with our breath once again. And perhaps, should you feel like it serves you, maybe focus on your heart a little bit and feel the incredible power of the heart beating inside your chest. We're now aware that we're breathing in, and we're aware that we're breathing out. Let's explore two possible scenarios, and for those of you watching the live stream at home, please do this exercise with us. Unless you're driving, of course, then don't close your eyes, just be present. But for now, if you can, close your eyes and just reconnect with your breath. I'm going to give you two possible scenarios. Neither of these two scenarios are right or wrong, or good or bad. They're simply two different scenarios based on what you believe. Scenario 1, Scenario 2, and then I'll come back to Scenario 1 and then back to Scenario 2. Let us begin. Scenario 1 is for you if you believe that you are simply flesh and bone. Scenario 1 is for you if you believe that you are simply physical in nature and that everything in this world is simply physical and that is it. That is Scenario 1. Scenario 2 is for you if you believe that inside of you there is perhaps a spirit or a soul or some sort of energy, and that that's who you are. Scenario 2 is for you if you believe that inside your children, inside the people that you love, maybe somewhere out there in this vast world and universe, there is some sort of energy, some sort of consciousness within all things. That is Scenario 2. Just take a moment to feel with your eyes closed what you truly do believe about you and about everything around you. And it's time to choose. If Scenario 1 is what you believe, and you believe simply that you are only flesh and bone and this world is only physical in nature, the things that you can touch and feel are real and nothing else exists, then please raise your hand now. Everyone's keeping their eyes closed. And if you did raise your hand, you may put your hand back down. Thank you so much. If Scenario 2 is what you believe, and you believe that inside of you there is this spirit or the soul, this consciousness, and there's more to life than just the physical, more to life than this thing that we can touch and feel, and Scenario 2 is for you, then raise your hand now. If you did raise your hand, keep your hand up nice and high, eyes closed, and just feel what that means to you in your life. And if you did raise your hand, keep your hand up, and with your hand up, open up your eyes and have a good look around the room. And as you're looking around, connect with at least 5 people eye to eye. Have a look at how many hands are up. And I'd like you to find at least 3 people, give them a high five and say, yep, I believe that too. All right. Well, isn't that interesting? Please write this down. I've got a very powerful sentence for you, and I'd like you to write this down. What I believe I will achieve. What I believe I will achieve. Now, later today, I'll be talking about the incredible power of epigenetics, the science of epigenetics. I'll be talking about the science of neuroplasticity, how you can fire and wire new scenarios and pathways in your nervous system. And for today, I'd just like to summarize quickly by saying this. In your body, there's approximately 50 to 100 trillion cells. There's a lot of zeros. That's a lot of cells. So your body's made up of approximately 50 to 100 trillion cells. Skin cells, hair cells, heart cells, liver cells, brain cells, etc. According to research, some of which is done by the incredible Dr. Deepak Chopra, some of you might have heard of Dr. Deepak, yep. Infinite potentiality, right? Dr. Deepak says that each of your 50 to 100 trillion cells has an estimated 6 trillion actions. It does an estimated 6 trillion things, every cell, every single second. It's a lot of things. And all of this, or the majority of this, happens without the need for you to think about it. You're digesting food right now. Your heart's beating, your hair's growing. You can listen to what I say. And ladies, you can even make a baby at the same time. That's how amazing you are. And all of these cells, they are always listening. They're listening to your thoughts. They're listening to your beliefs. They're listening to your emotions. They're listening to your words. They're listening to your environment. They're listening to your friends. They're listening to your feelings. That is why this incredible science of how you can turn on and off genes and regulate, upregulate or downregulate your immune system, your nervous system, your hormonal system, etc., is directly dependent upon the choices that you make and the work that you do on yourself. Because all of our cells are listening. So what we believe, we will achieve. That's exactly right. And this is science, right? And I'll teach you a bit more about this later. So what you believe is crucial. And some of the most important work that we can do in our lives is to go back in time and ask the question, what do I really believe? Since the majority of my beliefs stem from childhood and the indoctrination or imprint period, if you want to learn more about who you really are and what shaped your life and your beliefs, research the imprint period. It's where human psychology begins. When you learn this, you'll understand why in the 3-day program we take you back into the number one trauma that created fear, your number one guilt, your number one shame, your number one grief, sadness, and anger. Your number one lies or incongruencies and inconsistencies. Your number one illusion, frustration, desperation. Your number one addiction. And you get to, in the sacred space, heal all of these wounds. Because these wounds are what create autopilot programs that make you do the things that you don't want to do, that you beat yourself up about, that's keeping you stuck. Does that make sense? Yes. You heal that inside, and your outside and inside world becomes very different. So we have to look at what we believe. And most of what we believe may not be serving us, or some of it, at least, of what we believe may not be serving us. So I would like to take you on a little journey back in time. If it's okay with you, I'll tell you a short little story about something that happened back in the day. Is that okay? Go through it. And this is really raw and vulnerable for me because it entails me literally sharing my deepest traumas and challenges with you. And I do this in the hope that you will feel my heart, but even more so in the hope that you see that your challenges can easily be overcome. That those things that you feel is keeping you stuck, that it's not possible to transcend, they are holding the key to your freedom. It is within your greatest fear that you will find freedom. Once you can let go and transform that fear, because everything is energy. Are you still with me? Yes. So then fear is also energy. If you can turn fear to fuel, you just got to learn how to do it. So if you were with me in 1988, some years ago now, you would have found a young 5-year-old boy in Norway, where I'm born and raised, on the other side of the world, in a tiny little town called Arendelle. Has anyone seen the movie Frozen? Yeah. If you've got kids, you've probably seen it like 6 times. Right? Yes, I love it. I love it too. The movie Frozen is actually based on my hometown in Norway, a tiny little town of 20,000 people called Arendelle. And I remember this day like it was yesterday. I was sleeping in this tiny little wooden bed, single bed, as a 5-year-old boy, and it was in July. And that's summer for us in Scandinavia. And I remember waking up on a Tuesday morning and I was so excited because I could hear the other kids playing outside for the school holiday, and I was going to go out and play, and I was like, woo, summer. And as I woke up, I started stretching into my body. Suddenly I heard this horrendous scream. You know, the type of scream that just continues, and it's horror, it's terror. And I could tell it was my mum. And so I jumped up out of bed, I ran down the hallway to my little brother Kevin's room where the screams were coming from. And as I turned into the room, I saw my mum sitting on her knees, and she was leaning over the bed and she was holding something and just screaming. And eventually, when I understood and I could see what had happened, I could see my mum, she was holding my little brother Kevin in her arms. He was blue. And so during that night in 1988, my brother, my mother's son, passed away as a little child in his bed. And from that day, life was never the same. 2 years after my little brother Kevin died, my little sister Katinka was born disabled. So she was born with her spinal cord coming out of her lower back instead of going to her legs. And so unlike you and I, she's never had a chance to walk, she's never had a chance to run. This is a picture of my brother's grave, and every time we go home, we sit, kneel by the grave in grace and in gratitude for this incredible gift of life that most of us, or maybe many of us, took for granted this morning. And we don't take for granted again once it's lost or once we lose someone that we really love. And as I said, 2 years later, my little sister Katinka was born. She was born disabled, and she's never had a chance to walk, she's never had a chance to run, like many of us have. And so as I was growing up as a young man, I had this void inside me. I had this drive, this passion, these two questions that were haunting me. And the first question when it came to my brother passing away was, if life is indeed so precious, then why do we take it for granted? And what does it truly mean to live? That's what we call quantum living. And then in relation to my sister, I was asking the question, where does sickness and disease come from? And what does it mean to truly be well? Not just to survive, but to thrive, to live. And so I started studying everything I could with health and wellness. I became a nutritionist, became a personal trainer. Then I became a physical education teacher, and I was teaching in schools, teaching children about conscious movement and nutrition, the fundamental building blocks. And then I thought to myself, I want to travel the world, I want to see more and experience the world, and I want to continue my education. So I jumped on the plane and I went to Australia. I sent this picture to my mum and I said, Mum, look, they've got kangaroos in the street. My mum's response was, verbatim, fuck off. And she was like, oh my God, just like in Home and Away, right? And you may think it's cliche, but my mum actually watches that stuff on a regular basis. And I was so filled with hope, and I believe hope stands for help other people every day. I was so filled with hope because I thought and I wanted to prove to my brother who passed away that I was going to live. And not only was I going to really live, but I was going to help other people find the meaning of life and to really live while we're existing, to be alive. I was so passionate because I wanted to learn more about health and wellness because my sister had never walked, and I wanted to find out what we could do to really experience and explore health and vitality. And then I got a phone call from my mother in 2006, and she said, "You better sit down, I've got some really bad news." She said, "I've been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and the doctor yesterday gave me 3 months left to live." Do you remember what I said earlier? What we believe we will achieve. So I bawled my eyes out and I jumped on the first flight to Norway and gave my mum a big hug, and we cried, and I asked her the same question I asked you just 5 minutes ago. And that was the question, what do you believe? And tears rolling down her eyes, she said, "I believe that not only will I beat the cancer, but I believe that I will be more healthy in the future than what I am now." And that's 15 years ago. My mum's still alive today. A little round of applause for all the mamas. Woo! You wouldn't have been here without your mamas, so send your mamas some love, okay? If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. That's what my old mentor used to teach me. The feminine will be the rise of the new reality, so we might as well give grace to that divine power of love. It's time for the feminine to step in. I think the masculines reaped enough havoc in this world. In certain senses. Nonetheless, my mum was on a healing path. I was in Norway for 8 months, helping my sister in and out of hospital, and my mum in and out of hospital, and surgeries, and etc. And then I had a privilege last year. Has anyone heard of a guy called Tony Robbins? I had the privilege last year of facilitating an event for Tony Robbins' personal spiritual mentors. They're called Preeta Ji and Krishna Ji. They're on the ONO Academy in India. And as I was invited to, there was 300 to 400 people in this event, and I was the guy that was moving the energy up and down. They've done some of my work and they've seen some of my seminars, and so they invited me to help with their event. So it's a privilege and honor to be the energy guy in the event for Tony Robbins' mentor. And one of the things that I noticed that Preeta Ji talked about over and over and over and over and over and over and over again was there are only 2 states. How many states, please? 2. There are only 2 states. There is fear and there is, that's it. There is contraction and there is expansion. There is darkness and there is light. Einstein said there are only 2 emotions, fear and love. All other emotions are derivatives of these 2 emotions. So there are only 2 states. In neurology, we call them the sympathetic nervous system of fight or flight and the parasympathetic nervous system of rest and digest. Yes? Yes. Stress or presence? A non-conscious, non-joyful, non-present, shitty-ass, stressful state where you are unconsciously co-creating the things that you don't want in your life over and over and over and over and over again on autopilot. You're stressed, majority of the time, that's you. And then we have the present time, conscious, loving, joyful, productive, free-flowing, God flow state of the parasympathetic moment of presence, where you can, if you do shift from fear to love, and it's not love, I love you, it's the vibration of love, yes? Then you can co-create the things you truly do want, both consciously and unconsciously, but it doesn't happen unless we shift it. Unless we go into the fear, we collapse the fear, and the truth becomes clear. And so I was living in fear. I was in a stressful state because I wasn't sure if my mum was going to be okay. I was riding a 600cc motorcycle through Melbourne. I was on my second bachelor at RMIT University in Melbourne at the time. I was driving up this mountain, and as I was going too fast, too much in my masculine, too much in my, thought I was strong and powerful and going quick. I lost control of the motorcycle and then crashed and broke both my legs and my back. And I remember I was lying on the ground and my right foot's on my chest and my toe is touching my ear. Snap. Not good. So the doctors picked me up, gave me the green whistle. That's me with the green whistle. That was what's left of the bike. Doctors took me to the hospital, put a whole bunch of different bits of metal in me, screws, bolts, plates, and sent me out. And it took me a while to get back on my feet, but I recovered pretty quick. Then, about a year later, I went back to the Royal Melbourne Hospital to take all the metal out. And what I didn't know at the time was that the surgeon in hospital had a really nasty habit of not sterilizing, which was told to me by the male nurse at the time. And I was given what's known as an MRSA infection. Does anyone know what that is? Any nurses, doctors? Yes. And multi-resistant Staph aureus infection, which is the one that does not respond to antibiotics and actually lives in the hospitals a lot of the time. And from that day, I spent 2.5 years in and out of surgeries, hospitals, wheelchairs, fighting for my life with a life-threatening infection. And one day, and I walked in, and the doctor looked at his charts, and he looked at me, looked at his charts, and looked at me, and then he sighed. And he said, Espen, the infection is spreading. You now have a 50-50 chance of losing your leg from the hip and down, your right leg. And if the infection continues to spread, then it might attack your internal organs, and if it does, then you die. And so in that moment, my 2 greatest fears have become a reality. My number 1 fear that I would die like my brother, or my number 2 fear that I would become disabled like my sister. And in that moment, something greater took over. And a message came through. I felt something, I heard something, I saw something. And it's the number 1 thing that has helped change my life. And so if you feel like it's useful, you may write it down. It was real simple. If it is to be, it's up to me. If it is to be, it's up to me. And I realized at that time that I had been looking external to the doctors and the surgeons and the nutritionists and the nurses and all of these hospitals and all of these things, when the truth is that I and I alone can heal. The doctor can dress the wound, but only you can heal. And when he said you might die, I said, thanks, doc. And he left the hospital. I ripped the intravenous out of my arms. I had lost 15 kilos. I knew in my heart that I was dying. I spent 2.5 years fighting this thing. Almost 2.5 years. And I left, and I never looked back. I'm going to tell you something cool. I got 2 legs. Woo! 2 of them. So when I get up in the morning, thank you, I love you. Why? Because I have them, and you have them. We have a heart that beats. We have an incredible body that allows us to show up here today. And if we don't start to cultivate gratitude for those things that we've been blessed, or maybe we're taking the real grace, the real blessings for granted. And so in that moment, I went home and I started researching everything I could about quantum healing. I knew that I had been looking elsewhere and it was not working. So I started turning my attention back within. I learned about quantum science. I learned about consciousness. I learned about energy, frequency, and vibration. I learned about beliefs. I learned about epigenetics and neuroscience. And over the last 15 years, we've been able to combine all these together in a blueprint. And so you do not have to do this alone. Whatever obstacle, whatever challenge, whatever situation you've been through in your life, you never walk that path alone. But you're going to have to walk through the door. preferably before a trauma, preferably before the shoulds become a must. So I found this science, I started putting it all together, I started doing the work on myself, and after some challenging times and sweating and convulsions and whatever, this hole that was open here for over 6 months, spitting pus for 3 months, closed, and I was able to heal. And so what I'm sharing with you is that we're all going to have challenges in life. Would it be fair to say that as part of the human experience, we're going to have some challenges? Raise your hand if you feel that that's true. At some point, we're going to have challenges. Some challenges are going to be small, and some challenges are going to be big, yes? Okay, so we can't avoid challenges. But there's only 2 ways you can respond to a challenge. There's only 2 ways you can respond to a challenge. And the first way is the way of the ego, the way of the blame. Your 3 fingers are pointing back. And that's to ask the question when things happen. Now listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking to you from a vulnerable place. I'm speaking to you from an authentic place. I'm speaking to you from a place of compassion, where I know that what you've been through is painful. I know that you've suffered. I know you've been through hard times. But I also know that that is the exact thing that's going to help you transform. And that there's going to be more of these challenges. And when they arrive, you can stand on the shoulders of giants and you can change it. You can change it from asking the question, why did that happen to me? Because that's how a victim is going to answer the question, yes? Yeah. And if it's happening to you, then it's external to you and you have no power over it. And I'm sure you know someone that asked that question, why is that happening to me, right? Then when we ask the question, why did that happen to me, we're a victim of our history. Is it making sense? But there's another way of doing it. When I started healing through this journey and I got back on my feet, I got a phone call some years later from Channel 9. And this lady was the producer of Australian Ninja Warriors. Anyone seen the TV show, Australian Ninja Warrior? The crazy guys trying to hang on to the obstacles and not fall in the water. She said, I'm from Channel 9. I'm from Australian Ninja Warrior. And I'd never heard of it. Well, I heard one thing, and that was the word ninja. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, the only thing I wanted to be was a Ninja Turtle. If I could be a Ninja Turtle, my life would be epic. I was a turtle. Donatello. And so I was like, okay, cool. And she said, do you want to be on TV? And I said, oh, not really, but, tell me more about it and whatever. And she shared, and I said, yeah, I'll do that. And so I did the first season, had a pretty good run. And then she called me up again, and I applied and got through, and then did the second season. And this time she goes, well, you're going to hit the buzzer this time, right? And I went, oh, yeah, for sure. I thought to myself, the first time she asked, I thought, shit, I better start training. I'm a yogi. I'm used to letting go of shit, not hanging on to shit, So I thought, all right, we'll do that. And she said, the reason why we want you on the show has nothing to do with your physical abilities. It has to do with your story. Because your story can inspire people. I thought, well, that's why I'll do it. Of course I'll do it. When I got back to the second series, they flew me all around Australia. This interview from the Today Show is in Mackay. And I did interviews and radio shows and whatever. And it was all about the story. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this story with you is because there are obstacles in your life, like the obstacles on the ninja course. You can try and go around them, and they'll always be there, over and over and over and over again, or you can overcome them. And as we go through Ninja Warrior, we do 7 sets of filming before we run the course. And we have the 6 obstacles in the first heat. And we never know the obstacles. We never get to try them. They just show us, these are the obstacles, go for it, you got one shot. And so I did the training and the breath, and I was able to meditate my way through the course. And behind the scenes, while we're doing this filming, the producers looked at me and said, "What's your story? What's your story this time around?" And I said, and I asked them the same question I asked you before. I said, would it be fair to say that life is always going to give us a challenge? Some big, some small. And they said, yes, of course. And I said, then, well, every single person watching in Australia and across the world have obstacles in their lives. And it's not the obstacles that define us, but what we believe about them and how we respond to them that makes us who we are. And I said, since we're all going to have challenges, all we have to do is to change the question. You change the question from why did that happen to me to how might this be happening for me? Please raise your hand. Only raise your hand if you did raise your hand before when you said that you believe that you're a spirit or a soul, something more than just physical flesh. Please raise your hand if you believe that still. Have a look around the room, yes? Would it be feasible, possible or plausible that maybe that spirit, that soul, that limitless potential, not bound by space or time, that is you, would it be possible that maybe you've gone through some challenges as part of the human experience for a reason?
Yes.
Maybe? Well, you change what you believe and you change your life. You change the question from why did that happen to me to how is this happening for me? And you go from being a master, from a victim of your history to a master of your destiny in the magic of the moment. You change it in the moment. And the two producers looked at each other. Yeah, that's the story that we'll do, yeah. So I had a chance that moment to have the whole story shared with 2.2 million people in the first episode of the second season. And so I share this with you, my dear friends, for you to see that that thing that's holding you back, those blockages, and there are one primary one in every single area of life. The majority of that is from your past, in your childhood. They are the obstacles you must overcome to find your power. And it starts with something real simple, and it's called taking the first step. Because inside of you, there is a true quantum being of limitless potential. Science has proven this for 121 years, since Max Planck won the Nobel Prize for quantum physics. And you know what? If you are this potential, there's one thing that you need to do, and that's to take the first step. Has anyone heard the quote by Lao Tzu? A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step. Your first obstacle was to get here today. And you're here today. And once we've taken one step, what do we do after that? Then we take another step. And then we take another step. Either we take another step or we don't go anywhere. I call that the blue pill. Anyone seen Matrix? Take the blue pill and life just stays the same. Nothing changes. You have that option. If you're truly happy and fulfilled and healthy and well with where you are, that's not a bad option for you. But if you know that there is more, and you wish to raise the frequency and the healing and the abundance in these 8 areas of life, then you take another step. And another step, and you go through these obstacles, and before you know it, you get to the end and the top. Does anyone know what this thing here is called? The wall? It's called the warped wall. Does anyone know what that is? That's the buzzer. It is so good. It feels so amazing to smash that buzzer. And I don't know what the buzzer is in your life, the grand finale of your life at the top of that obstacle, but I can tell you it's worth it. I can tell you it's worth fighting for your life and for your freedom. And I can also tell you that you don't have to do it alone anymore. We have a system that stands the test of time. We have the science, and it works. It works for every single person, every single time, but it does not work unless you do the work. So let's summarize. Everything is still energy. Are you guys with me still? Okay, everything is energy. Life, wealth, health, everything is energy. Vital energy, life force, prana, consciousness, call it whatever you want. Life force is blocked and destructive energy is stuck. That's what I call issues in the tissues. As a primary healthcare physician, I used to call it a diagnosis. I don't call it that anymore. No point in labeling. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You don't need fixing, curing, treating, or healing. You just need to remove interference. Because you are already limitless. And taking that first step is all it takes to begin to unleash the new quantum you. Is anyone feeling like going quantum here? Anyone else but me? It's like, oh. So let's go quantum. And I call it the first step to going quantum. No, it's not the first step. It's one of the first steps is just a little bit of yoga. So please stand on up when you're ready. This is a real upward dog, by the way. Yoga is conscious movement, and it's remarkably powerful. And saying that you're too inflexible for yoga is kind of like saying you're too dirty to take a bath. So let's do some yoga. Toes touch, heels touch, legs tight. Tuck your tummy in, push your hips forward, lift your chest, shoulders back, chest up, heart open. And we inhale our arms up over our head sideways, fill your lungs completely, and then exhale back down. We're aware that we're breathing, we're already doing yoga. So inhale, arms up one more time, and this time we're gonna interlace the fingers, we're gonna release the index fingers and cross our thumbs, like a pistol grip. Then we inhale, stretch up to the ceiling as high as you can. And from that length, bend your body over to one side, over to the right-hand side for you. And stay there and breathe. If it becomes uncomfortable, if it's painful, come out of your posture. But if it's just a little bit uncomfortable, just breathe. Take a big breath in, looking straight forward. Don't look to the ground. Exhale, come down and push, push, push. Change. Well done. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale over to your left. And then feel the stretch down the right-hand side of the body. Again, don't look to the ground. If you look to the ground, that's normally a pattern. Try and look straight forward. Inhale. Exhale, back up to the middle. Now, if you have any sharp lower back pain, any disc problems, you might want to sit this one out. If not, join me into the unknown for a bit. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, drop your head back. Inhale, stretch up, 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 up. Go and touch the ceiling now. All the way, arms back immediately. Come on, arms back. Push your hips further forward. Arms back more. Look back. Look all the way back. Hips forward, arms back, way back, more back, arms back. Inhale and come back up. Beautiful. Bend your knees and you turn. Place your hands on the floor if you can. If not, on your feet. If not, on your knees, wherever. And walk your feet out. Come on, walk your feet out. And then shake your butt. Oh, come on, shake your butt. Not so serious. Shake your tuchus. And then squat down, feel your knees. Powerful, these knees have carried us all our lives. And then push hips up one more time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's come up together. Inhale your arms up over your head sideways. Full lungs at the top. Exhale your arms down sideways. Now find 5 people, give them a double high five and say, you're bendy, baby. Woo! Well done. All right, friends, when you're ready, take a seat. It's time to get into some quantum science. How cute is that little puppy? No, I wish it was my puppy. Who's heard of this guy before? Anyone? Of course. Albert Einstein said, and I wish to really emphasize this quote. By the way, let me check in. How are we doing, by the way? We feeling good? You notice how much better you feel after 2 minutes of yoga? 2 minutes? Can you do 2 minutes? Yes. Good. Can you do it maybe a couple of times a day? Yes. Conscious movement is life. When you move, you live. When you stop moving, you stop living. You gotta move. I'll tell you a cool thing, one of my absolute favorites. You know how many of us are saying, I need more motivation to eat better, I need more motivation to exercise, and I should be doing it, but I don't? Who's ever been in that boat? Anyone else but me? Okay, motivation is an external push. It requires energy, external energy. Inspiration is an internal pull. External push, internal pull. When you find your inspiration, you don't need a push because you'll be pulled like a magnet. Do you understand the difference? Okay? Now here's the key. When you, and you learn this at the 3-day event, when you can link, can you please say link? Link, neurologically linking. When you can link your highest value, what you're passionate about, what you're inspired about, to conscious movement, you won't need motivation. When you can link your highest value to movement, nutrition, healthy lifestyle, and they become one and the same, you won't need any motivation to exercise or eat well because you'll be inspired to do so from within. Does that make sense? So if you want to transform that, it's part of what we do in the first 2 energy centers. And most people live their whole life saying, I need more motivation. You don't need motivation, you need inspiration. And Einstein said, we shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if mankind is to, what's that word? Survive. He didn't say thrive, ladies and gentlemen, he said survive. Would it be fair to say that there are some really interesting things happening in the world right now? Yes or yes? Yes. Okay. We're talking about humanity's survival. We are already deep in to the 6th mass extinction. If we do not change, humanity will not survive. Are you with me? It might sound a bit scary, but this is a fact. If we do not raise our energy frequency and vibration, if we do not come home to the truth of living in alignment with our planet, we will perish. And I'll tell you one thing that's really powerful. It has very little to do with the governments, the institutions, and the politicians. It has everything to do with this thing right here. Because we and we alone are the paradigm shifters, the thought leaders. We are the people. Does that make sense? This is our life, this is our world, and this is our future. And if we don't make the change, we will be forced to change. So we're at the precipice of transformation. With the caterpillar and the chrysalis waiting to become a butterfly. And we can either consciously prepare ourselves for this ascension, or we will be dragged through the process by the universal law of inertia. Where we are literally having to just go along with what they do. So listening to this man, it's about how we can shift the way we're doing things now. Listen, inside of us there is a field of energy, there is a field of consciousness, and it's the collective consciousness. What's happening in the world right now is not their fault. It is a collective expression of everyone's internal environment. Does that make sense? Okay, this is also proven, yes? So the University of Kassel, including the Heart Math Institute, has proven that when you shift your focus inside and you focus on love and healing, compassion, gratitude, and peace, you will go, or can go, from emitting, that's sending out, 20 photons of light, 20 bits of light, 20 pieces of light per second, this is measurable, from 20, you with me? To guess what? 200? Any higher, any lower? 100,000. From 20 photons of light to 100,000 photons of light per second. You can change and shift the negativity of 5,000 people when you do the work. If you have a dark room, can you bring a light into it? If you have a dark room, can I bring light into the darkness? Yes? I can bring a candle, I can bring a flashlight, I can light up a dark room. If you have a lit room, can you bring darkness into it and shut down the light? No. Because the light's powerful. And grey is going away. You're with the light or you're not. So let's go through some science. And please just turn to the person next to you, give them a high five and say, it's science time. I have to speak a little bit faster because I speak too much. Can you guys see this thing here? Looks like a physical thing, right? You guys see this? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Let's say that we take your hand. It can be your brain. It can be your heart. It can be anything physical. It doesn't have to be something in the body. It can be this crystal. It can be the computer. It can be this clicker. If I take your hand, this, by the way, is the last 120 years of scientific research. If I take your hand and I put your hand, and I'm talking about anything physical, I'm just going to use the example. If I put your hand under a microscope and I look into the microscope, I'm going to see a thing called a molecule. Has anyone heard of a molecule before? Yes. Okay. And then we go deeper, and then from the molecule, we start seeing an atom. Has anyone heard of an atom before? Yes. Okay. In the middle of an atom, does anyone know what that's called? A nucleus. Right? So in the middle, we have a nucleus. And then there are sub, meaning below then, subnuclear levels of nature's functions as seen in this chart. This chart summarizes the last, well, call it 200 to 300 years max, maybe 120 years at the least, of modern scientific research that proves that the universe is structured in layers of creation. From superficial diversity or separation, the two physical things of my hand and this clicker is not the same, to fundamental unity at the core of creation. To summarize, science has proven that your hand, your body, your brain, your entire body under a microscope, you go deeper. At the core, you're going to find that your whole you, that everything, that this flora, that all of this physical stuff, you are made up of 99.9% pure space. And 0.01% of you is physical. That's what we know in physics as matter. So, you know when you raised your hand earlier and I said you believe there's more to you than just the physical flesh? Well, that's accurate. In fact, 99.9% of you is pure consciousness. Listen carefully. It's not nothingness, it's everythingness. And this field of divine intelligence, proven by physicists and philosophers and scientists for over 121 years, that field of divine intelligence holds the key to our future. It holds the key to everything that we wish to experience and explore. It holds the key to our transformation and our healing. Because within us, this field has always been and will always be. And I heard a story once. It blew me away. It was a story of God. God is having a conversation with man about the power and the wisdom and the beauty of the entire universe. And God asked man, what do you think we should do with the power, the wisdom, and the beauty of the whole universe? And man said, we should hide it. We should hide it at the top of the tallest mountain, for surely there mankind will not find it. And God looked at man and said, well, one day mankind will evolve enough, and when they do, they will go there and then they will find it. Okay, Okay, said man, then we should hide it at the depths of the deepest sea. For surely there they will never find it. And then God said, well, one day, when mankind is evolved enough, they will go there too, and then when they do, they will find it. And then man said, well, I don't know. And then God said, why don't we take the power, the wisdom, and the beauty of the entire universe and place it right there in the middle of themselves? And you see, one day, dear child, when mankind is evolved enough, they will go there. And when they do, they will find it. You see that power, that wisdom, and that beauty of the entire universe that beats inside your chest over 100,000 times a day to remind you. It whispers in your ear. Every time it beats, it says, listen, remember, come back. And for the first time, we've been able to bridge the gap between science and spirituality. The door is open. And only you can walk through that door. You will go within or you will go without. Dum, 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 dum. I believe my heart says, thank you, I love you, thank you, I love you, thank you, I love you. Every time it beats. Question. Does anyone know who this guy is? Tesla. Has anyone heard of Nikola Tesla? Nikola Tesla is the greatest inventor in human history. And the number one quote that he is most famous for is as follows. If you want to find, does anyone know it? If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of, let's try that together. Think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. If everything is energy, then it might be a good idea for us to turn the attention within to the energy centers. There are several energy centers in the human body, and each of these centers are directly related to a particular area of life. If you didn't know that drinking water will help you become hydrated, then you're going to stay dehydrated, yes? And if you now know that I have water and if I drink it, I will be hydrated, we can heal. So it's a new language. What's interesting, my friends, is that when each of these energy centers are blocked, they're relating directly to suffering in this area of life, in the different areas of life. Just like if you don't live a life of passion, you live a life of procrastination. Well, procrastination is not the problem, the lack of passion is. When you look at the science of energy, frequency, and vibration, we can look at the incredible research, for example, by Dr. Hawkins. Dr. Hawkins was a psychiatrist that became a medical doctor that then also got his PhD. You don't get much more qualified than that. If you look up Dr. Hawkins and the Hawkins scale of consciousness, you might see interviews with him and Oprah Winfrey and people all over the world. One of the greatest minds in human history when it comes to the study of the reality of what is true and who we are. And Dr. Hawkins was able to prove, and we use this scale in the 3-day event. We also do an 8-week online program. So if you can't do the 3-day event here in this room or on the Gold Coast in March, then you can do an 8-week program where instead of gathering in a room, which is very powerful, most powerful, you can do it online, one every week for 8 weeks. And as a part of our curriculum, as part of this blueprint for ascension, we use the Hawkins scale of consciousness because Dr. Hawkins was able to prove that certain emotions, can you please say with me, emotions? Emotions, that's energy in motion, yes? These different emotions vibrate at different frequencies. Fear vibrates at what hertz? Can anyone see what that number is? 100. Fear vibrates at 100 hertz. Neutral, what's that number there? 250. Anything that emits a frequency of fear that is in your life is going to make you sick. Do you understand? One person understands. Yes. Do you think the news is mostly made up of love-based frequencies or fear-based frequencies? Which one? So I'm here to tell you as a scientist, please stay informed, but know that if you're watching mainstream news, you're getting sick. You understand? Is that a fair call? Yes. Anything that regulates, that emanates at the frequency of fear is going to make you sick, period. Just fucking letting that drop for a moment, yeah? I know probably not many of us watch TV, but for those of us who do on a regular basis, feed your mind with stuff that's going to increase your frequency, yeah? And so neutral is 250, and when we are in environments with people, places, circumstances, or events that are below 250 or below wherever we are, it's going to make us experience sickness and disease. Yes, are you with me? It's real simple. It's simple equation. There's fear and love. That's it. And so what we do is we go back to the fear. We go back to the guilt. We go back to the shame. We go back to the grief, sadness, anger. All of these things that are running your life on autopilot, because unless we collapse the wound, it repeats itself on autopilot in the unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is so powerful, it does not know the difference between a thought you are having, a feeling you are feeling, and a real event. I'll say that one more time. Your unconscious mind, which regulates at least 95% of what you're able to create in your life, knows not the difference between a thought you are thinking, a feeling you are feeling, and something actually happening. When a child watches a murder on TV, the unconscious mind of the child is actually experiencing someone being killed before their eyes. Are you with me still? I know this is a bit dramatic, but the average child has watched 10,000 murders before the age of 7. Right? So you've got to really be extremely conscious of what kind of environment you put yourself in and what you let your kids watch, you know? So if we wish to ascend, if we wish to heal, if we wish to become masters of our future and masters of our energy, we have to put ourselves in those environments. We have to understand this scale of ascension and raise the vibration to love and above. Love vibrates, the newest research of love is 528 hertz. It's a good frequency. We have a question in our family, which is simply, how would love respond? Is there more love? Yes. Yes. There's always more love. And what you believe, you will achieve. You guys are awesome. So we use the scientific principles in this work. And when we do raise the vibration, and you'll have this breathing experience very soon, we're going to be spiraling that energy, ascending the energy from fear to love. And when you see the truth of who you are, that 99.9% of you is made up of pure, untapped potential. And you start working with that energy, and you spiral that energy up, and that energy hits your third eye, and your crown opens, and you connect to the divine source of creation through your breath. Spontaneous remissions happen like that. I'll let the graduates tell their stories of healing, etc. in a moment. That's more, even more powerful. But the truth of the matter is that ascension simply means the action of energetically rising to a higher level. We know through the science of epigenetics and neuroplasticity that you will change your genes. You'll turn on and off certain genes by your environments, your thoughts, your patterns, your indoctrinations, your emotions, your beliefs, and limiting beliefs, period. When you start your day, it's the same as starting a computer. You know, when you start a computer, the whole thing starts up and then you see stuff on the screen, yes? But you don't think about the processor and the fan and the RAM and all of these things that are programmed. I had a conversation with Dr. Joe Dispenza in Cancun a year and a half ago, and he said 95%, listen to this, 95% of the thoughts that we're having today and the emotions that we are feeling today are identical to those we had yesterday. So unless we go back and consciously upgrade them, we are running our lives on the same frickin' program. And all we see is what's on the screen. Are you with me? So we have the power to go back and rewrite our future. And we can turn on and off genes. Professor Bruce Lipton proved this when he was the first in the world to do stem cell research in the 1970s. He said genes do not control life, genes respond to life. And only 5% of chronic disease runs in the family. If you don't believe me, look up epigenetics. You know what's really cool? That means that 95% of your health outcomes from this day forth is directly related to your choices. Are you walking through the door or are you staying where you are? In neuroscience, we know that we can create new pathways in the nervous system, and that's what we do when we breathe. That's what we do when we do this work. And our students in the beginning, when they first come to the program, would it be fair to say, guys, that when we first do the work, it's a bit harder to move the energy? Would that be fair to say? Some of our graduates in the back, when you first come, it's a bit harder. And then when the pathway is laid, you know, in the brain, it's called neuroplasticity, neurons that fire together, they wire together, right? And so when you do a habit, like if you brush your teeth with your right hand or with whatever hand you use, it's a lot easier, yes? If I asked you to swap the toothbrush to the other side and try and do it with the other hand, you'd have to really start to turn your brain on, yes or no? Because it's different, you haven't done it before. Like playing an instrument, or like I said, learning a new language. But when those neurons fire and wire together, when you get into the first blockage, you remove the block, you remove the second, you remove the third, you spiral the energy, you use the proven scientific field, the torus field of the heart, and you bring the energy around, you can't help but heal, you can't help but ascend. It's inevitable, it's in your nervous system, laid as myelin sheets. We can see it on the functional MRI. And the graduates get continuous goosebumps when I talk about this. Uni bumps, soul bumps, yeah? They're not just a chemical reaction, hello. In spirit. When our students have done this work over and over again, and many of our students will be sitting this event, even though they're graduates and they normally hold space and they work, they're on the floor, they're in the chair, they're doing the work. Why? Because we give that to ourselves. Because when I move that energy once, and I move that energy twice, and I move it again, I only have to breathe for 5 minutes to enter the field, to receive the download, to heal my wounds. Does that make sense? Okay? And it doesn't happen for every single person every time in the way we want, but it happens because we've done the work. You drink water, the water will go into your body, not tap water, of course. You drink water, the water gets into your body. You don't need to think, or, you know, give 30% of the water to the liver or give 50% of the water to the brain. You just drink the freaking water. Are you with me? And then the wisdom of your body and consciousness will do the rest. It's the exact same thing when we do the energy work. Are we having a good day so far? Am I talking too slow? You good? Okay. Let's recap. Sitting up nice and tall. Big breath in. Exhale. Big breath in through one, in through the bottom. Exhale out through the top. Now breathe in through the bottom, up the spine, out through the top. And let's recap. What have we learned so far? Well, at least a couple of things. We've learned that there is a scientific proven model to thrive in times of uncertainty. Because when we have that energy and frequency that's healed within the external environment, the silliest example is you drive to your yoga class, someone cuts you off in traffic, you go, asshole! You do your yoga class, you drive, another person cuts you off, you say, namaste. You must be in a rush, I bless you. Yes? As one simple example, this works in every area of your life. Not just a yoga class, works with your finances, works with your relationships, works with your everything. And it's not just yoga. It combines innovative science with the power of consciousness. That allows us to stand on the shoulders of giants. It helps us upgrade the energy centers or the chakras and unleash the potential in all areas of life. We get to learn how to master our energy. If you had the power, if you had the power, the wisdom and the beauty of the entire universe within, if you were a godlike creator in your own physical right, would it be useful to master your own energy, yes? Imagine. You don't have to walk the path alone. We want to invite you into our family. It's not a cult, it's a culture, okay? But it's a family. And honestly, in my life, I've spent a lot of my adult life being lonely because I didn't know that it felt so good to have a family, and not just intimate family, but extended family, like all of these beings, like Craig, Lane. These guys drove from Cairns to Townsville for 4 hours to crew for free. And then they drove back in the middle of the night, and then they got up early this morning to be here with you. Give me a little round of applause. And they don't get paid to be here. They get to be here. They choose to be here because they want you to be a part of this journey. They want to see you cry, and they want to see you heal, and want to see you transform. And I want that too. I want to journey with you. I want to call you brother and sister, and know that next time we catch up, you go, oh, dude, I need to tell you something. And I go, yes. So it is a family. It's a sacred family. It's a conscious community. And I'm so honored to have people like this in my life. And now that I have this family, I can never imagine living without it. It's crazy what I used to be doing. So it's a family. You learn how to heal and ascend your internal world, which raise the frequency of your internal world to prepare for what is coming. I can't tell you what is coming, but I know that we're just getting started. And there's an invitation, a sacred invitation for you to join the family. And so you've got the dates there in front of you, which is the dates for the live events. Some of the stuff that you see there, which is the mastermind and medicine and the other retreats, they are not available until you've done your initiation, which is the 3-day program. So the first step is to do the 3-day program. And we're here in Cairns. We're growing quickly, so we might centralize to one location, which is Sydney, so you don't have to go to Sydney, but for now we're actually coming here. This is our spiritual home, as Elaine says. Yes. He says, you've got to move to Cairns. Maybe. I just go there a lot. And so these are the dates. What we're going to do now is I'll introduce a little bit about the science of the breath. Then we are going to be clearing the room, which is basically taking the chairs out, and we're going to have a quick little break, and we're going to come back and breathe. If you want to come to the 3-day event, the VIPs, I've given you a special gift already, so you remember that gift. And for the rest of us, if you want to join us, you have the opportunity to do so. We normally reward people that know, like Marcia and her mum, just like done, went straight to the back and purchased their ticket. So during the break, go to the back. You can just find any information that you need. How much is it? When is it? Or you know when it is. All the other questions that you have. And I will just say this, if you feel in your heart that this is for you, then the decision is made and there's no excuse, just make it happen. If you do not feel that it's for you, then the decision is made and don't make it happen. Is that cool? So you know, your intuition knows, your energy knows. We've got to follow through on that decision. If it doesn't happen today, 85% chance it won't happen. So it'd be good if you make that decision. So what we want to show you is a little video. We keep the experience raw and real. What you're about to see is part of the journey that you'll be going on as a part of the live event. Then we're going to introduce the breath. Let's talk about the science of breathing. Then we're going to have a 14-minute. How many minutes? 14. Oh, thank you, legends. 14-minute break. You know, 14 can become 14 and a half, maybe 15, but 15 easily becomes 20, right? So 14 minutes. And during that break, if you're interested, go and get a ticket, because at the end, when we do the final offer, there is always a lineup, and then you miss out on your bonus. So if you feel, just go to the back and just do that after this video. And then we'll explain the breath, and then we'll come back, and then we're going to do some breathing. And I'm not talking about this normal yogic type of breathing or meditation breathing. We're going to use the quantum breath. Yeah, it's going to be very much like that. And you're going to be able to embody a breathwork technique that we've developed through a lot of scientific study, which has now pretty much proven that you can create DMT, dimethyltryptamine, the spirit molecule secretion from your brain in high doses when you use your breath in this very particular way. And instead of telling you about it, I'd rather give you the experience of it. Because if we can scratch the surface, if we can knock on the door today, and then we walk through that door, when you come back for 3 days and you've done this work, when you've opened up all the gateways, and then you breathe, well, needless to say, the field will hold you, and whatever you receive is exactly what you need to receive. It sounds a bit woo-woo, so just wait until the experience, and then you'll have the embodiment of it instead. So, sit back, relax, enjoy this short little video, and imagine that you are on this journey, in this experience, with your brothers and sisters, going through the painful moments. And I don't know about you, but I would rather spend 3 days going through my wounds, and every time I heal it, I raise to bliss, than to have those unconscious things just run my life on autopilot, yeah? So it's like you're going to have to put yourself in the fire, is the only place to bend steel, my hot yoga teacher used to say. So enjoy the video. I know. Let's get the lights down. You have the wisdom of the entire universe within you, which you do. And you have an opportunity to sit with whatever came up and ask the question, what's happening around me? What am I supposed to learn? Am I conscious? What if the top is actually the bottom of your potential?
Energy is so great.
So can we even do that? What if the top is actually the bottom of your potential?
Energy is so great.
Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah. And the chairs, if everyone just gets into the back, we'll put them out on the balcony.
Yeah.
Space.
It's a music was still playing then. Super. I'll take it.
Great answer here.
Oh, sweet. Awesome. Thank you.
Take his question.
Salad here somewhere? Seconds. Do we have the fruit salad? All I need. Thank you.
Mom has ordered you some food as well, so she's bringing it now.
This will have to be now. I just wanted to say before we get into this exercise that I see you, I love you so much. A little bit scary, right? Oh my gosh, I have to face my fears? Oh, you don't have to, right? It's so cool. So that is the feeling of it. You've got the dates, everyone's got the handouts, yeah? Yes? Yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, well, we did say yesterday it was a 14-minute break. That's not correct. We're going to take a longer break, but it's not a lunch break. It's really easy to now go and eat something big in a burger and whatever. You will regret it because when you try to breathe with a full stomach, so please fill up with good nutrients. Please drink good water. If you have to have a coffee, try and have a single shot because you don't want to get into a stressful nervous system when you're about to breathe. You're going to be breathing a lot and you're going to be breathing for a while. So you want to keep your body as light as possible. So let's call it nibbles and smoothies. You know, half a handful of nuts, chew them well, get well hydrated, move your body, get some sun. And like I said, let's make it probably like a 25-minute break. So two things before you start walking. If you have you had a good morning, by the way? Yeah? Awesome. So privileged to be here with you guys. I'm having so much fun. So just take a seat. So before you leave, if you have any lower back problems, if you have any problems lifting, then leave your chair where it is. Yep, no worries. If you have any lower back problems or any injuries, then leave the chair where it is. but if you're capable of lifting a chair, if you're not sure, then don't. If you're capable of lifting a chair, see where the gentleman is at the back there, Akira? We're going to take the chairs to the back. We're going to take the chairs out, okay? And then we're going to stack them. Now just sit down, please. We're not done just yet. I know you feel like running, but just give me the grace of finishing the sentence. Thank you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the chairs over there, or just leave them if you can't carry a chair. That's perfectly fine. We're going to take the chairs out. We're going to have a little break, and then we're going to come back in 25 minutes. It's now 1:45. Okay, so let's say, would that be 10 past? Yeah. So be here by 10 past, because we're going to start breathing, and we're going to be breathing on time. I have to go through a safety induction first to make sure that everyone is eligible to have the breathwork experience. And I think that's it. When you come back, I'll explain the science of breathing. We're going to go through more quantum science. You're going to actually have the breathwork experience, and then we do the final invitation at the end. So remember now, if you feel called to do the work, then try and take care of your tickets now, because otherwise you most likely will lose out on the bonus at the very last wave. Then we do that. There will be a lineup. And please enjoy your break, drink water, and we'll see you in 25 minutes. If there's any questions, I'll take your questions at the back of the room. All right, guys, enjoy.